Hello, it's Mrs. Glasson, and here we are zooming towards the start of another tutorial and at the same time zooming towards the conclusion of my Wonderful Words series. Yes, wonderful words from A to Z, or alacritus to zealot, as I mentioned in my introduction. And I promise there won't be a zebra in sight, but zealot does make its promised appearance. Because my Wonderful Words series is about improving your vernacular, augmenting your range of ambitious vocabulary. The type of vocabulary that's rewarded by English teachers and English examiners like me. The type of vocabulary that will help you at school, to pass exams, at work, and in your daily lives. Because to me, that is what successful English teaching is all about. And even better, now that you all have your downloadable Wonderful Words workbook, by completing all of the activities, you'll be left with a complete compendium of wonderful words, a delicious dictionary of ambitious vocabulary. Oh, and at the end of Wonderful Words beginning with W, I set you a task. Have you completed it? Did you manage to find all of those wonderful synonyms? I hope so. Well, students, what a fabulous voyage of vocabulary we have been on, and it hasn't come to an end yet. I hope that I have managed to inspire you with my zeal and my passion for English. And so, without further ado, Wonderful Words beginning with Z. Are you ready? Off we go. And here's the first word. I've mentioned it already. I mentioned my zeal for English. Zeal meaning enthusiasm. My zeal for English is evident. I hope so, students. I applaud my students' zeal for reading. I've taught some brilliant English students, as you know. And something that they all had in common, as well as excellent vocabulary, is that they were voracious readers. They loved to read, and they read the right kind of fiction and non-fiction. In Britain, we rely on the zeal and diligence of NHS workers, so the National Health Service. Zeal, I've just explained, but students, a bit of revision. What does diligence mean? I have mentioned diligence and the adjective diligent in 2 tutorials. Wonderful words beginning with H and wonderful words beginning with V. So you should know what it means. And if you've forgotten, then please do go back and watch those videos. A very important word when it comes to being a hard-working student. Next word. If you have zeal, you are zealous. I am zealous about the benefits of learning excellent vocabulary, as you know. And the next sentence I found on the internet, actually, and it seemed so positive and exhibited such a positive attitude that I wanted to include it here. Look, his zealous attitude made him a winner in overcoming every obstacle of life with a smile on his face. How lovely. Zealous, having or showing zeal or enthusiasm. Now those are positive words, zealous and zeal. But if you have an excessive amount of zeal, and if you are overzealous, then that is negative, because you can become a zealot. And just to reiterate, this is a negative word, And that's why I included this long description. So a person who is fanatical, so excessively zealous, and uncompromising, so unmoving, in pursuit of their beliefs, religious, political, or other ideals. So that is never positive, it's always negative. And so that first sentence exemplifies that negativity. And you'll be studying history at school, perhaps, students. You can always Google this on the internet. History is peppered with political zealots who have threatened the peace of nations. And it's certainly much better to be like this. Although he was passionate about his beliefs, he was by no means a zealot. And finally, this word, zeitgeist. I love that word, zeitgeist, meaning the spirit of an age. And a zeitgeist is a lot easier to explain using some example sentences. So here they are. Every December, Time, so that's Time magazine, Google it if you haven't heard of it, Time attempts to capture the zeitgeist of an entire year in a single magazine issue. And you often get that, don't you, at the end of the year, looking back over the year and attempting to capture the spirit of that year. So to capture the zeitgeist of that year. Sentence number 2, the classic book about slavery depicts the zeitgeist of an era in which humans felt entitled to own other humans as property. So again, zeitgeist. This final one, this is something I have often thought, and there are some book recommendations coming up. Few authors have captured the zeitgeist of 20th century America as John Steinbeck did. And it continues, this legendary author. So this is something that I have often thought. I have taught of Mice and Men, and I also taught Grapes of Wrath, actually, for A-level. And I adore John Steinbeck, and I have often thought that he really does capture the zeitgeist of 20th century America, what it was to be a migrant worker at that time. And even though I thought it, I did my research and I actually found this as part of his biography on the internet, a short biography of him. And it's true that he did this and also that he's a legendary author. So book recommendations coming up: Of Mice and Men, East of Eden, and The Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck. But first, Of Mice and Men. I've taught it many times and I still use an extract from it to teach 11+ creative writing and comprehension. The beautiful description of the two protagonists at the start and what is shown to us rather than told. This whole idea of polysemy and implicit meaning. And interestingly enough, I compare that to the opening of The Mayor of Casterbridge by Thomas Hardy. But that's a tangent that I could probably continue some other time. Grapes of Wrath is the novel that's considered his masterpiece. He himself considered it his magnum opus, and he won the Pulitzer Prize for it in 1940. I loved teaching that for A-level. And finally, East of Eden, published in 1952. Students, if you haven't read any Steinbeck, read Steinbeck. A great place to end, or nearly end, because do you remember, students, at the end of Wonderful Words beginning with W, I set you a task. I asked for your help. I wanted you to equip me with some synonyms for that adjective that I overuse, wonderful. Students, with your Wonderful Words workbook, you can follow in your workbook because it says, let's end with some super synonyms to describe all the amazing words you have been learning. I introduced them in Wonderful Words beginning with W. That's when I set you the task. They are so lovely that I think they're worth repeating. Here they are again. So wonderful synonyms, please help. There you go. They were the words that I asked you to complete at the end of wonderful words beginning with W. Did you manage to complete all of them? Ah, not so soon. I'll be giving you the answers at the end of this tutorial, so pay attention and please keep watching until the end. Before that, I've got an important announcement to make. Students, even though we have come to the end of our voyage of vocabulary, and it's time for me to say goodbye to you, it's not goodbye forever. Oh no, I'm going to be starting my tricky words series. So words that are commonly confused, and they'll be out every Saturday. So look out for them. Again, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out. And there will also be another series entitled Grammar Matters with Mrs. Glasson. And hopefully with my wonderful words series, my tricky words series and Grammar Matters with Mrs. Glasson, my wonderful words workbook and the other workbooks that are yet to come. With all of those and with my passion and my zeal for English, I hope that I have inspired you and that I have helped you too, and you must be able to join in by now. Elevate your Lexis to make your diction more dexterous and to make your English exemplary. Don't forget to keep watching for those wonderful synonyms. Goodbye for now. I will see you soon. Okay students, it's time now for the answers to the wonderful synonyms. Marvellous, magnificent, superb, gorgeous, sublime, delightful, glorious, fantastic and fabulous. Well done students, see you again soon.